Welcome to the hydraulic bender tutorial. In this cabinet you will find the materials you need to bend. The first one here is an 1.25" pressure die. Next one is a sliding die. Has a lot of words on it, tells you this is the top, hole number 5. And the last die that you will need is the large stationary die. Very heavy, so be careful. 1.25" stamped on it. This is the bender. This is how you turn it on. That's the switch. And here's the controller to make the ram go in or out. Inside the cabinet there are example bends. You'll need to find the 1.25" one, paper towels, lubrication, and then there's pins, short ones and long ones. You'll need 3 of them. On this bender, this is where the stationary die will go, right in front of there. The sliding die will go in there, and then the pressure die will go in the other arm. So we put the stationary die in. You had to take this pin out, move the arm over to about in the middle, and you're going to have to lift it up and kind of wiggle it in order to get that pin to seat all the way down. And there it's seated all the way down. Next, this is the sliding die. Make sure that the top is going up. It has a short pin in it, and it is placed in hole number 5. And then this is a long pin. Make sure the pins are seated. This is the stationary die, and that long pin keeps the stationary die from turning. And then this is the pressure die, and we will put that in right before we make the bend. Grab some lube the stationary die, and also the sliding die. You will need to lube these every time you make a bend, otherwise it'll put scratches in your tube. So just a little bit will go a long way. And there are paper towels to wipe them off. You need to cut your outside leg at 106 and your inside leg at 104 inches. Use the bandsaw to do this, make a nice cut, and keep your extra pieces for your notched leg brace. Next, you're going to find the example bend. There's a black line on it that goes all the way around. That is our line that we want to use to transfer to make an accurate bend. Other tools we're going to need a magnetic level. Make sure it's cleaned off on the bottom. We're going to need a tape measure, and we're going to need 2 carpenter squares. There's only 1 here, but you're going to need 2, so get 2 ready. You're going to find the center of your long leg. 106 inches divided by 2 is 53 inches. Mark it and put CL on there for center line. Make sure all your markings are accurate. Then from that center line you are going to mark over 12 inches because we want this leg to be 24 inches. Half of that from the center line will be 12 inches. We're going to get our square and our example bend and very accurately hold them up there and make sure that the square lines up. And we are going to transfer our line, there's a center line mark, transfer our line from the example bend to our tubing. Always put an arrow towards the bend and right bend, otherwise you will bend on the wrong side of the line and your bends won't come out right. Place the tube into the bender. Make sure you have the bend and the line where you can see them. They're going to line up with this stationary die right on the edge of it. So slide it in to where it lines up right with the edge right there. And then we are going to have to turn the tube until the weld seam is up. All right, so we want that weld seam up. Here it's a little bit crooked. And then we're going to install the pressure die. Pressure die goes wherever we can get it the tightest, and so we're going to place it in there against there and look down through the hole, and it looks like it's going to line up the best with hole number 5. So slide that long pin down through there, and it will be loose, so you might have to put a little bit of pressure on the tube. Turn the machine on, and there's our in and out, and we are going to use the out button, and we are going to guide the arm into that notch. It has to be guided. There it goes, into that notch with that handle. And then press out, and we will start our bend. You're going to have to do this a couple times, the ram will go to its full end length, and then you'll have to push the in button and use the handle here to guide the arm back and to the next notch. And so you can see I'm guiding it back, pushing it in, and then I'm going to slide it into that notch, and then I'm going to push the out button to get it to bend some more. So there's several notches, and we will use 3 of them. You can see our angle guide right there. All right, we're going past 90, we're almost to 100. We're going to run this in one more time, go to the next notch, slide it into that notch, and press the out button. Now it's really important that you're super accurate here. Here's 90, we're going to stop at 106.5, so there's 98. Turn the camera the right way. Here's 100, 102, 103, 104, 105 and a little, 106 and a half. Be careful to press the in button now so you don't bend it too far, and start guiding our arm back to the start position. And then make sure that you run the ram in all the way so we don't scratch it, so we don't lose hydraulic fluid. At this point we can turn the machine off, and we can remove the sliding die, set that up on top, and capture it with the pin, and move the pressure die and set that up on top and capture it with the pin so these parts don't fall on your feet. It's really important that you get them captured, otherwise they really hurt. Now we can take our bend out. We can wipe it off, get that lube off, and we take a square and we check to see that it is square, and this happens to be really good bend. Next we're going to use our square on the outside so we can measure that outside dimension of 24 inches. So it's nice to have somebody help us here, and we're going to use our second square, and we want to square that up, get our 24-inch measurement, and then transfer that to the other side of our tube. After we do that, we are going to flip the square over. We are going to use our example bend at that mark, and it's super important to be accurate here. And there's our center line, so we're on the right side where we need to be, and we're going to transfer our mark over to our tube. Be accurate here. Place an arrow where the bend goes, and right bend so you don't make a mistake. It's real easy to make a mistake with bending. Now we're going to run that line all the way around this tube, because we're probably going to have to flip it over in order to get it in there. So place it in the machine. This is where you're going to need your magnetic level and somebody else to help you hold it there level. Push your tube in. You have to be super accurate, and you have to talk to the person that's helping you, because they have to be accurate also. Then start your bend. After you've lubed your dies, of course, we're going to bend. We're going to stop at 106.5 again, and then if you look at your finished bend, it should be 24 inches the outside. And you might have to wiggle it a little bit. Now we take the inside measurement of 21.5, subtract a 1/4 inch, and we want our other bend to be 21.25 inches. Now for the inner leg, you're going to find the center and mark it. Take the inside measurement, divide by 2 to get 10 5/8, and do the first bend. This is the second bend of the second bend. So we're getting our 21.25 inches, using our square just like we did on the first one, making a very accurate measurement. And we're going to put the arrow there, as always, and right bend. And then we are also going to run that line all the way around, just like we did in the first one. And we're going to have somebody help us hold it level. Get our bend mark in there very accurately. This one is super important. And then we're going to make our bend. We're going to go again to 106.5. If that happens not to work right for you, then somewhere between 105 and a half and 106 and a half should work, depending on the actual tube that you have and how you have it oriented in there. But for these bends, 106.5 worked out really well. If they're a little bit too far, then you can pull them back just a little bit. After you get your bend done, pull it out, wipe it off. Looks really nice. It's a little bit narrower than the other one, and it should fit in there really nicely. So if they're a little bit not perfect, but they fit in there, the bolt will hold them just fine. So don't be too stressed about that. Next, what you want to do is wipe off the dies. Make sure everything's nice and clean for the next person who uses it. Make it look beautiful. Pull out the pins. Place everything back where they go. There's where the 4 pins go. You're going to have to lift up again and pull that large pin out. Sometimes that can be a pain. Get that out, grab that die, put that pin back in, and make sure it goes down all the way. So pop, there it goes in. Wipe this die off, put everything back where it was before. There's those 3 dies. Clean everything off, run the RAM in, roll the cords up, put everything back away. Thank you for watching.